what do you think the city of the future will look like? Try to imagine something from a sci-fi novel, something that screams the future, right? Something that's from the 22nd century, right? Do you think it looks something a bit like this? Or maybe this? Hopefully not this. But could the cities of the future actually look something like this? Now, I know what you're thinking inside. I know that you're thinking, how could this be the future of urban living, right? And in fact, that's what a lot of people think. And that's what a lot of people consider Gir areas as. They think it's vestigial appendages, right? Stuck to our beautiful, progressive, modern downtown Ulaanbaatar. But today, I'm here to paint a much brighter picture, right? To give you a different perspective and to show you the beautiful potential of the Gir areas of Ulaanbaatar and how they can impact the future of cities around the world. Now, before I move on, I would like to start a little history lesson. And I'm not going to bore you with details or dates. In fact, I'll just say this. Ulaanbaatar is, or was, possibly one of the very few mobile cities to ever exist. Now, during its early days, when it was called Ikhure, it was a nomadic city in every aspect. Entire residential districts, entire troop barracks, staples, storages, warehouses, marketplaces, shrines, and dozens of monasteries could all be dismantled, packed, and transported along with their citizens and their livestock to somewhere else totally new. Right? The city was so mobile and so flexible that it moved a total of 28 times before finally settling down here on the banks of the Tol River. This amazing level of mobility and flexibility was made only possible because the city was almost entirely comprised of Gers of different shapes and sizes, and performing a myriad of different functions that a living, breathing city would need. Now, Ulaanbaatar's mobility saved us from numerous invasions. It took us to new pastures, to new resources, right? It helped us evade natural disasters. How many cities do you know of that used to exist or that still do that move around like this, right? It's almost something straight from a sci-fi novel or a movie. Now, unfortunately, as we modernize, we are starting to shed some of our cultural heritages and traditions behind. Like there's some sort of baggage holding us back from progress. And sadly, Mongolian Gir is one of these cultural heritages that we no longer see the value of. But what's interesting to me is as more and more Mongolians decide no longer to live in Gers and no longer see its value in today's world, more and more people around the world are actually becoming Gir enthusiasts. There are companies and organizations in North America, in Europe, that buy Gers from Mongolia, modify them, and resell them to buyers all around the world. There are companies also in America that make their own versions of Gers, right? Modified to fit a certain lifestyle, to fit local climates. And I think this is happening because these people are understanding the value of Gers and how they are more relevant today than ever before. Which very conveniently brings me to my next point. The world we live in today is a VUCA world. For those of you who don't know what VUCA means, it means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Now, we've all felt the effects of the 2020 pandemic, the economic downturns, the extended quarantines, right? It all was so extremely hard for us to handle, right? Not to mention all of the wildfires, the never-ending wildfires. Every time you turn on the news, it was some sort of wildfire somewhere, right? And the earthquakes and the floods. The list goes on and on and on. This is what VUCA is. It's instability, it's unpredictability, right? So how do you prepare? How do you respond to this? How do you respond in the face of something that you have no idea of? Well, we can do this by being mobile and flexible, right? At least that's a start. Literally, by becoming modern nomads, we can start preparing for a future that is uncertain. That's something Gers living and mobile cities can offer. Gers, the very things that us city dwellers discarded as primitive or bygone or as a symbolism of poverty in an urban setting, are actually the things that can bring us towards a brighter future, at least when it comes to cities. Right? It can offer us a mobile, more sustainable, and affordable way of living. And if you think about it, the Gers is a capable and time-tested form of mobile shelter. Slowly but surely, it took its current form through thousands of years of innovation. Slow innovation, yes, but innovation nonetheless. With a little more effort, hopefully, an eco-friendly housing solution for not just us, but for everyone around the world could be created. Now, this effort to take the next big step in mobile architecture isn't something that's a new phenomenon, right? It's been happening for many, many years. Many visionary designers and architects foresaw the benefit of a sustainable, decentralized mobile cities and off-the-grid living, right? They saw how these things can offer people a safer future, right? And how it can prepare us for something that we don't know. For example, in 1985, Pritzker Prize-winning architects Toyo Ito and Kazuyo Sejima, for those of you who don't know, Pritzker Prize is basically Nobel Prize for architecture. They designed something called the dwelling for the Tokyo nomad woman. It was a Gers-like structure, and recently this design has been resurging. A lot of people have been talking about it because it's extremely relevant in today's quarantine and natural disaster context. Even an even older example can be seen from the 1930s, when an American inventor, architect, and futurist named Buckminster Fuller designed the Dymaxion house, right? A sustainable, autonomous, single-family housing structure that could be mass-produced, packed, and shipped throughout the world. Now, I think you would all agree with me here, to a certain extent, that in principle and in design, these two examples, to a certain extent, obviously, resemble the Mongolian Gers, right? The Gers that we have all around Mongolia and parts of Central Asia. And I'm also very proud to say that they're not the only ones doing this. There are many collaborative initiatives by locals and international organizations to bring the Mongolian Gers into the 21st century, and hopefully beyond. And these projects are trying to help find solutions to our problems of urbanization. One example is the Gers plugin, in which was designed and built by the Hong Kong University's award-winning studio Rural Urban Framework, in support from Gers Hub, the social enterprise that I work for. The Gers plugin fits the traditional Gers with off-the-grid septic treatment, bathroom, water tank, shower, electricity, and passive heating. We've also recently worked with the University of Pennsylvania's Center for Environmental Building and Design to conduct research on the Gers' thermal performance and efficiency. And we also wanted to create viable recommendations on how you could improve the Mongolian Gers to make it more energy efficient and reduce pollution. But creating the next generation of urban living isn't something that only high-profile architects and designers or world-class institutions and organizations can do. That's something that we should all actively be involved in. As residents of Ulaanbaatar, now more than ever, we must and we can take active part in solving our own issues. We need to become part of the solution by becoming part of the effort. By doing so, we're not only finding solutions to our own city's problems, but we might find solutions to the problems faced by many other cities around the world. With everyone's combined effort, we can take the next big leap towards a sustainable, flexible, and mobile city that can always stay prepared for whatever the future might hold. Thank you.